Hello everyone, I'm Jennifer McGrath, Manager of the Water Care Division for Holland Home Leisure, and with this presentation I'll be teaching you how to open your pool for the season and how to take care of your pool water. Feel free to take notes and contact us at Holland Home Leisure with any questions you have. The question I get asked the most about opening your pool is, when should I open my pool? Well, the answer is, once the ice is thawed, get the pool up and running as soon as you can. The products you added in the fall did their best to prevent an algae bloom while it was closed, and those products will only last for so long. Mild fall or winter temperatures, freeze and thaws, debris entering the pool, etc. can increase the risk of an algae bloom. Now, this is what we are trying to prevent. Algae blooms are expensive to treat, take a lot of work and attention, and can sometimes take weeks to get your water back to sparkling clear, even with the best products treating the water, which cuts in on your valuable swimming time. By closing the pool late in the fall and opening early in the spring, that gives you the best chance for opening a clear pool. First step is to remove your winter cover. If you have a solid tarp-style cover, remove as much debris from the top of the cover as you can. Ideally, you do not want the water on top of the cover to enter the pool, but if it does, don't worry. It just may take a bit more product initially to balance the water and establish a chlorine level. If you have a secure cover, it fits tight over the top of the pool, so debris on top should be very minimal, and top water will have gone right through. This cover style makes for an easier opening that way, less debris on top to deal with. However, since the water will go right through this style cover, the products added in the fall have to work a bit harder to prevent an algae bloom. So closing late and opening early is important with this style cover. Before putting your winter cover away, clean it with BioGuard Stowaway. One of the great benefits of Stowaway is that you can fold up and store the blanket wet after cleaning. Stowaway will remove grime, prevent mildew, and also deter rodents. So to use, pour half of the bottle of Stowaway directly on the winter cover. Brush the cover clean using your pool wall brush, rinse it with water. Fold out the blanket and pour the other half of the bottle of Stowaway on the blanket directly and fold it up completely for storage. Next, use BioGuard's Off the Wall to clean the exposed liner. This will remove grime and chemical buildup and prevent other organic matter from sticking to the liner when you top up the pool. Let's talk about the skimmer. In-ground pools can be plumbed different from pool to pool. The main drain is the suction plate on the bottom of the deep end of the pool, and the main drain line can either meet in the skimmer or meet just in front of the pump. If it meets in the skimmer, like the picture shown here, remove the plugs from the bottom of the skimmer. There should be two. The main drain line will have foam rope in it that protected that line from ice damage. Go ahead and remove that. If your main drain line connects in front of your pump instead of in the skimmer, like this picture, remove any plugs or foam rope and reconnect the lines. Locate your skimmer basket. Now inspect it for damage and replace it if needed. If it looks good, place the skimmer basket back in the skimmer. Then reinstall the weir. The weir is the little flapping door in the opening of the skimmer where the pool water enters. Now, reinstalling the weir often gets missed in the spring, but that little piece is a key component to proper water circulation. It helps draw in water from the total surface of the pool instead of the water that just happens to flow in front of it. Now, this helps give all the water in the pool a good chance to get filtered and properly sanitized. One of the main questions I ask when someone may be struggling with water quality issues is, do you have the weir installed in your skimmer? It really does make a big difference. Next, we need to reinstall the directional return jets. Remove any winter plugs from the returns on the side of the pool. Use Teflon tape on the threads and then thread it back into place. You'll see in the image on the right, the returning water is directed towards the floor of the pool and slightly away from the skimmer. Just like the weir, the direction of your return jets play a huge role in overall water circulation. The goal is to have all the water in the pool have a good chance to get into the lines to be filtered, heated, and sanitized. Now, this is also an important question I ask when troubleshooting water quality issues. First, is the directional eye installed in the return jet, and what direction is it pointing? Next, the pump. Your pump will have 1 or 2 drain plugs on the bottom, depending on the model. Remove the drain plugs, allow the antifreeze to drain out, and put a layer of magic lube on the drain plug's O-ring to help extend the life of the O-ring, and then put the drain plugs back on. Locate the pump strainer basket, inspect it for damage and replace if needed, then place it back on the pump. Now the pump cover will have an O-ring or gasket around it to seal it up. Put some magic lube on that O-ring, but ensure it is in good shape. Cracks, damage, or stretching of the O-ring will allow air to be pulled in when the pump is in operation, affecting how well the pump stays primed. When everything is up and running, look into the pump cover. There should be no air in there. If you have a sand filter, reinstall the drain plug on the bottom, and on the filter head, reinstall the pressure gauge, the sight glass, and the backwash hose. And check the pressure gauge and ensure it's okay. If you're holding it in your hand and it doesn't read 0, it needs to be replaced. Here's a fun fact about pressure gauges. Now, this is the indicator for when you need to backwash. Once you get the pool up and running, make note of what your pressure gauge is reading, and that's your normal operating pressure. Every pool can have a different normal, so ensure you know what yours is. Wait for the pressure to rise 8 to 10 psi before backwashing the filter, and then allow the filter to backwash for at least 3 minutes and rinse for 30 to 60 seconds. Now, as the pressure rises in the filter, the spaces in between the sand get smaller, resulting in better filtration. So a slightly dirty filter is more efficient in filtering smaller particles than a clean filter. When backwashing, you would typically see the water run clear after 1 or 2 minutes. However, the last stuff to come out of the filter is the smallest stuff that may not discolor or cloud the water. If the small stuff is not getting cleaned out, you have less time between backwashes. When using this practice, you should find yourself only having to backwash 4 or 5 times a season. Now, it saves on water, chemicals, and your pool will look clearer. Now, last thing for the filter, place the filter dial valve in the backwash position. Once you start the pump, any antifreeze in the lines, pump, or filter will go out your backwash hose and not back into the pool. Allow it to backwash for around 3 minutes, and then place the dial back in the filter position. If you have a cartridge filter, replace the pressure gauge, again confirming it reads 0 when it's in your hand. And put a clean cartridge or cartridges if yours takes more than one. And there is a large O-ring on the body of the filter. Inspect it for cracks, damage, or stretching, and replace if needed. If it's good, place a layer of magic lube on the O-ring and put the filter back together. Now let's start connecting the plumbing. Start with the line coming from the skimmer. Connect that line to the front of the pump. If your connector has an O-ring, inspect it for damage. Disconnect your return lines from your equipment. So your return line would be the plumbing that the water would go through immediately before it goes back into the pool. Reinstall the line from the pump to your sand filter. This line should be going into the top hole in the filter head. In most cases, the holes will be labeled as pump and return. So the top one is for the line coming from the pump, and the lower one is the line going to the next piece of equipment if you have it, or back to the pool. If you have a cartridge filter, connect the line coming from the pump to the top hole, and the line connecting to the bottom hole will again go to the next piece of equipment or back to the pool. If you have a heater, like solar panels or a heat pump, connect the line coming from the filter to the heater. For heat pumps, the top hole is the intake, bottom is the outtake. If you have a chlorinator or brominator, connect the line coming from the filter or heater, if you have one, to the intake of your chlorinator. Remove the O-ring from the cover, inspect it for damage. If it looks good, apply a layer of magic lube, reinstall the O-ring. Add either chlorine or bromine pucks or sticks and place the cover back on. If you have a saltwater pool, connect the line coming from the filter or, again, heater if you have one, to the intake of your salt cell. Okay, so to recap connecting the plumbing, start at the skimmer and then go in order. Pump, filter, heater if you have one, chlorinator, brominator or salt, chlorine generator cell if you have one, and then back to the pool. Now, very important, if you do have a chlorinator or salt cell, it must be the last thing the water flows through before going back to the pool. No exceptions. And last tip, pay attention to the intake and outtake sides of the equipment and ensure the proper order is used. Reinstall the ladder or walk-in step. For the ladder, check the rubber bumpers that sit against the pool for wear and replace if needed. And also check those ladder treads. If they're cracked or damaged, replace those as well. Reinstall the ladder or walk-in step. For the ladder, check the rubber bumpers that sit against the pool for wear and replace if needed. And also check those ladder treads. If they're cracked or damaged, replace those as well. Then, if necessary, add water to your pool to top it up. You're aiming to have the water level around halfway to 3/4 of the way up the skimmer opening for proper circulation. Okay, so time to turn the power onto the pump and get it started. Remember, if you have a sand filter, ensure it's in the backwash position initially to remove any antifreeze. If you have a cartridge filter, direct the water to the waistline if you have it to remove the antifreeze. After that, sand filter to the filter position, or for cartridge filters, direct the water through the filter. The pump may need to be primed, and if you have a cartridge filter, again, you have to bleed the air from the top of the filter by opening the little valve on top until you have a steady stream of water coming out. And now it's cleaning time. Scoop any large debris from the pool if there's any in there, vacuum the floor if needed, and brush the walls. Now, you can check out our online store or retail showroom in New for some great tools to make cleaning a breeze. And now you've done it. Your pool is open. Let the water circulate now for at least 24 hours, and then bring us a 500 milliliter water sample in a clean plastic, not glass, container. Our water testing service is always free for our customers. You get a personalized printout that you can follow step by step to get your pool water balanced, sanitized, and ready for the season. Thank you so much for learning how to open your pool with me. Check out our other videos that go over how to operate, treat, and care for your pool. They have awesome tips to achieve great quality water while helping to save money and time. If you have any questions about opening the pool yourself, we're available to answer any of your questions. Or, after watching this video and you would prefer one of our experienced crews at Holland Home Leisure to open the pool for you, we certainly can. Feel free to give us a call for more info on our pool opening services, or you can book your pool opening service online at www.poolsuppliesnovascotia.pro. Thanks again, and happy swimming!